All right, yes, this is a quick walkthrough of the Enclave Secret Intelligence Service mod for Fallout New Vegas. Just kind of something that was, thrown together the last few months. Kind of a spy, counter intel type group within the Enclave. Thought it'd be a fun idea. And for inspiration, I used the characters from Archer, so the characters in the mod are kind of, lightly inspired from that. Yeah, this is in this walkthrough really quick. It's mostly just for either people who don't have time to play the mod or don't have like gaming PC, or maybe you're playing the mod and you're kind of lost or confused as to what to do next. So in any case, that's for you. So yeah, we'll jump in. So the way to start this mod is you go here to the Nevada Highway Patrol Station, just a little south of Good Springs. Let's walk right in here and see what's going on. Got some raiders. Still not very good with this gun, but it works. Some bugs around. Yeah, so the person we're looking for is in here. This is Mallory Archer, or ill-tempered woman. So she's fussy, even though she has this bomb collar on her, and she's in danger. She's not too upset to like belittle you and make fun of you. So yeah. Yeah, so if you have the explosive skill sufficient level, then you can help her remove the collar. If not, she'll just yell at you until you do. Cool. So she invites you to her secret enclave group. And oh, by the way, the dialogue for the characters may not come through. I tend to record with Xbox, the Xbox app. For some reason, it'll capture other sound effects, but not the dialogue. Sorry. I tried using Clipchamp and I ran into some other issues, so whatever. So anyway, so she goes to Boulder City. If we have the quest enabled, so she sees RTO, Mallory's Mandate. It's kind of a joke. When I started this mod, a lot of tech companies were doing return to office, so this is sort of a play on that. Because she's trying to bring everybody out of the field and into, back to the central facility. So she's over here in Boulder City. Could go over there. All right, so here we're in Boulder City. So yeah, right here you'll see I took an abandoned building and kind of made it into the 456 Laundry. Again, reference to Archer. Their secret base is hidden inside of a laundromat. A couple laundry machines. So she gave us a key, so now we can get in. Going through the facility here. So this is the first of, I think, 3 maps that I added to the game. Most of the content's in just kind of existing areas, but these are 3 maps that I added. So this is the Enclave Bunker. I call it Site Kilo Alpha. It's kind of, again, a reference to Fort Kickass from Archer. This is the greeter. He doesn't really do much, just kind of hanging out there. There are these turrets, so basically if you aggravate the members, if you try to attack anybody, then the turrets will aggro with them and they will shoot you. So meant as kind of a surprise if you try to betray them. So we go down here to the facility. Pretty simple little map. Uses some assets I'm sure you'll find familiar. This is the main room here. Over here is the science room. Or the laboratory. That's where we'll find Krieger in a bit. Then over here are the living quarters. Not much to see here, but just a couple. It's like a little break room. There's some beds over there. There's a bathroom over there. A couple items you can loot if you want to. But yeah, just meant to make it look like a lived-in facility. So talk to Mallory and see what she's got going on. So this is Enclave. Let's see here. You can ask some questions about, what's going on. Oh, it's the Enclave. Blah, what's your mission? They're kind of counter intel spy stuff. That's kind of the theme, was sort of spy-related things. What do you need me to do? So she has all of her field agents are out there observing the faction. She wants you to go kind of retrieve them and get their latest reports. And then the code word she gives you is Stir Friday, again a reference to Archer. So we'll head out of the bunker and we'll start rounding up people. Should mostly be in familiar locations. All right. So looking at the map, there's 4 of them. So down here in Cottonwood Cove is one of them, obviously embedded with the Legion. Over here in Hidden Valley, we've got someone as well. They are obviously researching the Brotherhood. Up here, you got someone in Camp McCarran, and then lastly, someone in Freeside looking at the strip. So we will start with Cottonwood Cove first. And I'm not afraid to use cheat codes to get us, moving along. This isn't meant to be a long, drawn-out, introduction or explanation. It's just kind of a quick walkthrough, yeah. So whatever. When you change cells, sometimes you show up in the air. Legion member may stop me as I walk over here, but so I originally had this character over in the command building over there, but it overlapped with this mod called claim the Mojave, which basically takes every interesting cell in the game and adds stuff to it, makes it hard to add other content in. So I just moved them over here. So this character should be familiar. It is, of course, Krieger. Stir Friday, right? Try to make chems out of cleaning supplies, just like he would, you know, always meddling with something. So he goes back to base. Next we have Hidden Valley. So I'm going to do a little cheat here that's gonna gonna make things more difficult later, but jump right into Hidden Valley and go recruit him. They're gonna aggro, and it's fine. This is a robot, so he goes away. All right. Next one is in Camp McCarran. All right. So normally, Lana would be over here, across the way. For some reason, she spawned over here at the top of the stairwell. In any case, the quest marker points to her. So, who are you talking to? So in any case, you can just find her over here. The quest marker leads her there. So she's sassy, as you'd expect. It is Lana. So Stir Friday, send her back to base. She's of course going to tease you about you're just a useless new recruit. Alright, so that's most of them. And now we have one more to round up in Freeside. I don't think I have... Yeah, it's this one over here. So yeah, over here behind a dumpster. Sometimes this guy there. So here's obviously somewhere that someone was sleeping, and then here is a transponder. So the last person is missing, but of course you have the transponder, so you at least found out where they were. All right, back to Mallory. We'll do this quick. Yep. There we go. All right, so that's the first mission done. Now we can talk to her about the second one. Yeah, a lot of the fun is the dialogue, but for the sake of brevity, kind of skip that with these walkthroughs. What do we do next? All right, so basically, she wants to spy on everybody. So she wants you to install a spy device at Black Mountain, but it requires additional power, so she wants to divert power from Helios 1. And then yeah, if you can talk to her and ask her about why you should help her, and she'll go into all these complaints about all the other factions are annoying and they don't do things as well as she does. So. That's cool. So most of these missions, generally the first thing you do when you start is go to talk to Krieger. He's going to have some equipment for you, kind of like the James Bond Q thing, you know, giving you some new tech. So in this case, because it is a technical mission, you're kind of implementing spy device, it's going to give you infiltrator goggles. So these will improve your like hacking skills, lockpicking skills, and science, but they also reduce your AP, so you can't just leave them on all the time. It's really meant to provide a simple way. You know, sometimes just like for me when I play, I'll have like a dozen sets of equipment around for meeting skill checks. It's like it's nice to just have like one thing. You know you're going to carry something with you anyway. It might as well be convenient. So one thing you can put on, do your skill check, and take it back off. So let's see here. So first we're going to, I think, Helios 1 to divert power. So I took the shortcut there. So it's meant to be a quick video. So obviously you recognize this is the upper deck of Helios 1. But there's this new computer here. We're just going to unlock it. Make that quick. So, you know, normally you'd play through, you go through the little facility, you get up here, and then you unlock the terminal. All right, power is diverted. So now you diverted power over to Helios 1. Next we have to get the supply cache. That is up with the Boomers and Nellis. The idea is kind of that, you know, obviously Nellis, you know, Air Force Base's military facility, they probably have some old tech, so they, you know, found this thing, you know, lying around and picked it up, but they don't know how to use it, so you're going to steal it from them. Obviously, if anyone sees you, you'll get caught and get in trouble with them. But yeah, so you get that. So the last thing you do is go to Black Mountain. So normally you'd have to go through the whole, you know, fighting all the super mutants and everything. We're going to do it the quick way and just jump right in. So just deal with that. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so this computer is added in for this mission. Obviously we'll unlock that and then install our spy device, level up. None of this matters. We'll just pick whatever. Sure. Oh, these are some perks I added for another bot. I'm kind of messing around with them. Cool. All right. So we installed the spy device. Go back to Mallory. I'll have to go outside again after this so that it doesn't start glitching out on me. All right. Mallory's right behind me. All right. Mission accomplished. We installed the spy device. Cool. Now we can talk to her about the next mission. This is technically mission 3 because the first one's a reunion, etc. Alright, so in this case it's a Legion squad was attacked by the sister unit out of Henderson. So there's another mod called For the Enclave, and the idea was to kind of narratively write it in, like, okay, there's a unit out of Henderson that got a skirmish with Caesar's Legion, and so she wants you to squash any rumors of that attack so that no one suspects their presence in the area. And then for the Brotherhood, for extra fun, she wants you to erase all their records, just as payback for Adams Air Force Base when Fallout 3 when they had a big fight. So yeah. So once again, go talk to level up again. Yeah, it works. All right. Talk to Krieger, which should be there. See, since this is a disinformation mission, spreading rumors and such, he gives you some tools for dealing with that. So the persuasive top hat gives you obviously bonus to speech and barter, and then you also get a one-time use mesmetronic emitter, which is, you can't use it in game. It's really more like it's like a dialogue option with certain NPCs. So that if you don't have the skill for a skill check, then you can just use that to sort of force them to do what you want. Alright, back outside, no glitches yet. Alright, so first we're going to, I think, yes, we have a Legion member down that way. We have an NCR member that way, and once we deal with both of those, we'll get sent to the Brotherhood down in Valley. So let's get to that. Yeah, so Legion member, this is the same shack where we recruited Krieger earlier. Cool, yeah. So basically ask about his injuries. He thinks it might be the Enclave. You have a few ways to talk him out of it. My favorite is the medicine check. So if you have a high enough medicine, you can basically adjust his meds and kill him. That silences him pretty quick. Intelligence, speech, you can use a few different ways. There's the mez device we mentioned. Also, you can, with both of these parts, with both of these parts of the mission, you can actually betray the Enclave here. So like if you choose this option, it'll terminate the rest of the Enclave quests, but you will gain you'll gain reputation with Caesar's Legion. So it's like, if you really want to, you can do that. But really just following that role-playing concept of letting you do whatever. So we're just going to follow the main quest line and say, okay. All right, so that convinces him that it wasn't the Enclave. Now we have to go deal with the NCR. All right, so over here, this is the NCR person. So they basically caught wind of the Legion skirmish, and they're trying to file a report as well. So this is sort of leading up to the next part of the dialogue, which is she's in trouble with the Omertas. And so you can, right there, you can barter with her for caps, but you can use that as leverage to get her to see things your way. So compiling report. Yeah, so barter, you can, with barter, you can basically, use caps to negotiate with her to alter the report, speech, what you'd expect, intelligence, the mez thing, and then, again, you can betray the Enclave, so we'll just do the obvious thing. Alright, so now she's also, off the trail. So lastly is the Brotherhood of Steel records, so we'll do that. So this is I think the second of the maps they added to the game. We sort of jumped to the end of it, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So the idea is this is actually attached to Hidden Valley, so that's Hidden Valley level 1. There's this unused doorway at the end of the hallway when you enter. I said, why not, why not add a cool little map in here, make this a storage room. So yeah, you can see this is kind of where you start Hidden Valley. This is Hidden Valley storage. And it's really just, what you'd expect, kind of a big room full of stuff. There's some turrets around here that will shoot you if you linger. There's plenty of gear to pick up, a couple mini nukes. I guess we can light it up a bit. There's stuff in here. Sometimes they attack me instantly, sometimes they take a while, I'm not really sure why. dummy computer, nothing there. So down here, one of the little Easter eggs is over here. There's this big stash of toaster ovens. It's kind of a joke, people always say the Brotherhood is collecting junk, so yeah, here's the big stash of useless toaster ovens. Let's see here, so this is where we're going. That. So unless it got, yeah, this is one of the mini nukes. There's like 2 or 3 of them down here. Yes, here's the computer we need to unlock. So yeah, so basically that corrupts their records on the Enclave so that there's no record, just kind of giving them a kick in the pants, as it were. So with that all done, we can go back to Mallory. Take us outside again. Alright. Alright, so we talk to Mallory again. Tell her it was all done. Alright, cool. So there's one main mission left, but there's also side quests, and we can get that one down on the way too. So basically, Lana, talks a lot of smack. She's giving you a lot of attitude, and so you can say, all right, well, why, what's up with that? How do I get in your good graces? So she'll send you on some missions to do stuff, and again, this just really is a way to get some more loot. So the way I tend to do these mods is I'll come up with some kind of equipment, and then a few different things. Like in this case, it was well, you'll find out in a bit. A couple different pieces of equipment or whatever, and then all right, how can I put that together in some kind of theme that fits like a quest line with some characters? So in this case, it's largely spy stuff, and so in a lot of ways, Lana's quests are really meant as just kind of another way to get more of the stuff that I come up with. Anyway, so in this first quest, she wants you to recover a stash of gear she left at the NCR when she was undercover. So we're just gonna hop over there and do that. Normally, you'd have to walk through everything, but yeah. So here in the barracks, there is this stash of gear. This is obviously just the McCarran terminal. Let's go straight there. Cool. So you give her the gear, and then in return she gives the stun gun. The stun gun doesn't work quite the way I intended. It was meant to do 0 damage and only knock them out, so that way if you want to do like a non-lethal pacifist type run, it would give you an option, but it was impossible, from what I could tell, to do fatigue damage and knock them out without doing at least 1 point of actual damage, and then they get aggroed. So it's sort of, I might mess with it some more. I don't know that's like particularly useful, but it was the thing I wanted to make. So this next one is basically there's a sleazy holotape dealer in Freeside. She wants you to get rid of him. So we're gonna. Alright, so here's the sleazy holotape dealer. So he is modeled after Carl from Acquisition Hunger Force, if it's not obvious. So yeah, you gotta chat with them a bit to figure it out. So he wants Cap. Basically, he has this holotape, and you can buy it from him to satisfy Lana's ask. You can buy it. You can talk smack to him. You can yell at him. Various options. Fine, send him out of the way. All right. Alright, that's done. So now one last mission. So for this one, so first up, so after that second mission, she gives you, she allows you to get this infiltration implant. So what this basically does is gives you a master infiltrator perk that lets you skip the lockpicking and hacking mini games. So like, yeah, now that I have this, if I have, say, 75 skill, I can, or 75 like lockpick or science, then I can skip the hacking mini game for like a hard safe or terminal. I stole that from Fallout 76. It's a quality of life thing that made things easier. So, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why, if I'm going to play this mod, I'll usually do this mission fairly early on. Just again, quality of life. And if the mod causes any problems, you can have it removed here. Obviously people there's a wide array of different mods with all sorts of different overlapping stuff. So like if it breaks anything, you can just remove it right there. Alright, so this mission's pretty straightforward. So she got in a fight with a Death Claw and lost a Power Fist. She wants to go get it back, so go picking up her junk. Alright, we'll just... I guess I don't have God mode on. Let's fix that. infinite ammo is pretty nice, huh? You done? So I'm done listening to you. Alright. So, Power Fist. Alright. They're leveled up. And we're walking through here. Alright, back to Lana. That's the last part of the quest. Oh, she's mad because it's... Power Fist is gross. Anyway. So basically, yeah, that's the final reward is you get this Gauss rifle. It's, you know, you'll still hear it when it fires, but it should be quiet enough that it doesn't alert enemies. I'm going to rest real quick just to reset my limb damage. Because that'll annoy me if I don't. Alright. On to the last mission. Yeah, so in this one it's basically someone seems to be betraying the Enclave or selling you know, Enclave secrets or something like that. And this option to do you have a pep talk, and it's a callback to previous dialogue about bearing you out back for not doing your job. Come in. Alright, so she wants you to go to the Gourmand, but first you gotta go over here and talk to Krieger. You knew Danger Zone would show up at some point. Talk to Krieger, and of course this time he has nothing for you. You're on your own. Good luck. You know, just for fun. Usually he has equipment for you, but this time he's got nothing, so. Jump into the Gourmand. And then over here there is this White Glove member. They're a disgruntled worker, so you're basically discussing with them about how much they don't like their job and how they got suckered into it. And then you have these options to get basically you need to get the VIP suite key from this character. You can use barter. This is like a good opportunity to use the Mez device that Krieger gave you, so you can do that. Cool. So, yeah, again, call back to Fallout 3, where the Mesmatron was, you could use that to kind of coerce people into doing what you wanted. So, you can also save it for later for the last mission. That's sort of a, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but yeah. So here's the private suite. Yeah. So we basically use the key to get in. Guys. Alright. So of course we go over here to find our secret contact, and of course it's Archer, who has been confused this whole time. He was on a stakeout, he meets this girl, and he thinks he's doing the business, but turns out she's actually tricking him this whole time. Yeah, so of course, as soon as you start to figure it out, the poison fog from Sierra Madre shows up to. It's a trap, right? So basically, she swiped his access card and left a trap for him. So let's see here. So we unlock the door. Yes, the idea is the first door is obviously you lockpick. This one is using science skill. We get out of the room, so we had to escape the trap. And now that we escaped the trap, now we go back to Mallory. Alright. Yeah, so basically, while he was distracted, this person he met, this Katya, stole his access card and now has infiltrated an Enclave missile silo up in Nellis Air Force Base. So she wants you to go sort that out. Obviously, you know, Nellis kind of makes sense. You know, they're an old military facility, so of course it's possible they would have missiles there in this fictional world. So this time around, Krieger does have something useful for us. So he gives us a custom set of stealth power armor, and then he can teach you power armor training if you don't have it already. So just a, you know, kind of a fun way to get that to bed. All right, real quick. So this is the power armor that you get. This is one of the first mods I made. It's pretty simple. It's just you know, a slight alteration of the one of the existing Enclave power armors that was cut from the game, but also when you crouch, it has a stealth field and night vision. You know, just the obvious thing that a first-time mod maker would want to make. You know, stealth field and night vision. So, but you know, it's pretty decent. So with that, we'll move on to the final mission. So we are going up to Nellis. So that's where the missile silo is. Over by the Nellis array. So we just go over here. This was just like an empty building that wasn't in use in the base game, just a facade. So I put a door on there and made it the entrance to this facility. There's the key. All right, so this is an area we're going to see a lot of combat. You can use sneak if you want, but better. Weapon seems like it's doing a lot more damage. Stuff is actually done. Didn't get everybody. Where are you going? Alright, turrets. Like I said, a lot of combat. I thought about doing more of a stealth thing of trying to infiltrate without being caught, but it was just too complicated, so. This is meant to be sort of like a science-y lab type area, right? Like, I don't know, maybe they run research and missile operations out of here, I don't know. But, you know, just an area where people would be working. Is that everybody? Yeah, like, see if you go over here, there's some living quarters, there's, you know, there's some beds, little bedding area, and a bathroom. Again, just giving it kind of a bit of that lived-in feel. Just that one wasn't aggroed. Yeah, so that's this area. Continuing on, I think there's a couple more turrets over here. Yeah, so there's this room as we descend further.
This is now a common. You may start. Failures.
Oh, this guy. So that door we'll explore in a minute. Actually, you know what? No, we'll do it now, just so we don't have to backtrack. So the idea is there's this is supposed to be a shortcut back after you finish the mission. Yeah. That looks glitched out. So this door, I knew that was coming up. All right, too many levels. Sure. So this door we actually passed on the way down, but it was locked. Yeah, it requires key because you're supposed to use this. So here's the chance to use Master Infiltrator. So you know that's how that works. It unlocks it automatically. Unlock the door. So now that should open up, so we can backtrack to that way. But also there's a utility room over here. Similar thing. Locked. I have to use the computer. Unlock the door. Over here now that's open. It's just kind of like a weapons cache. Got some gears. Gauss rifle, alien power cell, bunch of money. Might as well take that. We're already here. And yeah, just little loot stash. Okay, let's go finish this mod, this mission. Alright, so this is the last section. I'm going to do a quick, they call it a safety save, because there's a couple things we can do here. Let's see where we're that one. So first things first, and it shouldn't be a problem for you, but for me, because I no-clipped into the Hidden Valley, they're angry at me, and because Koch is a member of the Brotherhood, she will shoot me on sight, unless I deal with that. So I'm going to use a little cheat code here. Set AV. Yeah, so now Katya should be de-aggroed, so you can actually talk to her. And there's sort of three ways to approach this. So the first one, obviously, you can always attack, treat it like a boss battle. You could fight her, and when you start combat with her, a bunch of sentry bots will come out. You have to fight with them as well. So, just a proper boss battle. You can always negotiate with her, but the other thing you can do is just betray the Enclave. Just say, spent all this time with these people, but I don't care. Just turn them to dust. So that's what we'll do here as just kind of a preview. So once you choose that option, you're pretty much locked in. You can still fight her and reverse course back to helping your team, but otherwise she basically tells you to just walk away and let the missile launch happen. So if we do that, we walk out here, a long walk back out of the room, and when we leave, something like this should happen. So you can see, message pops up. Basically, this is just reputation, but missile was launched against the facility. Brotherhood of Steel thanks you for your support, but the inhabitants of the Site Kilo Waffle are all wiped out. So basically, you gain some Brotherhood reputation. I think it even erases some infamy, but obviously fails the quest. So, it kind of locks you out of the end game content that one could otherwise do. So that's the sort of the bad ending. Now we'll show you the good ending. So we'll go here. Reverse time back to where we were. Katya's still not aggroed. We're gonna talk to her. Alright, so the negotiation option. So basically, at this point, you want to kind of negotiate with her and see if you can, approach some sensibility here. So intelligence is the first check to demonstrate that you do know about the history of the Enclave. And then, sort of two main options here. The speech is sort of the obvious one, but the one you probably want, the better one, is the science option. This basically appeals to her interest in technology as a member of the Brotherhood of Steel. It says, hey, look at all the research you could do with us, show you technology. So two skill checks. And if you do that, she will agree to cancel the launch and work with you in the interest of science. So now the terminal's unlocked. Before you couldn't access it until you negotiated with her. So do that, terminate the launch. So now that's done. You can talk to her. Basically, she just says she'll meet you back at base. So that's pretty much it. Basically, head back to base. If you chose the speech option and diffuse the situation, she'll basically, afterwards, she'll have dialogue along the lines of like, oh, I don't know what to do with my life now. So you could still recruit her to the Enclave if you want. So that's still an option. With that out of the way, let's head back to base and finish up the mission. Alright, back at base, we'll go talk to Mallory and see what's going on. Of course she wants vodka. Alright, mission accomplished. Alright, cool. So the first thing with that is you can still, so now that obviously Katya's recruited in the Enclave, kind of pacing around over there, you can talk to her about that, and she'll just give a little bit of spicy dialogue. Not the outcome she would have preferred, but she'll tolerate it as long as she makes good coffee. Abusive Mallory, as always. Alright, so with that, the first reward we can look at here is you get this Enclave Intel Officer uniform. So this is mostly just for show. I really like the Enclave Intel Officer uniform from Fallout 76. Wanted to do something kind of like that here. So it's really just a reskin of Tenpenny's suit and then the Boomer's hat. So looks reasonably cool. I think it has some basic bonuses. Nothing too big. But yeah, it's there if you want it. So the next thing we can do is we can talk to Krieger. He now has a new dialogue option that lets you respec your traits using sort of like whatever weird science he's cooking up in the back. So you can go through this and he'll offer to respec your traits. He obviously has not a lot of confidence in that, but anyway, we're not going to do that for now, but just, yeah, this option right here, you can re-roll your traits if you want. A one-time thing, obviously. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. The other thing is now we can talk to Woodhouse a bit more. Has some new options. So because we now finished the missions and we're now a member of the Enclave, we get a discount at when we go to buy things. So you can see you get a discount. So that just kind of helps a little bit with purchasing stuff. The other thing we can do is use the reputation services. So we are going to cheat a little bit. Add item, pre-war money. Let's see, whole bunch. Yeah, so I think I mentioned earlier this uses pre-war money since they're a pre-war organization. But yeah, you can go to your reputation and yes, you're sort of buying reputation. But it's meant to be, it's the end of the mission, so it's not something you can easily abuse. you do incur a karma penalty for it, and really just meant for kind of topping off your reputation. So like the base game, I think the Brotherhood of Steel, you can't really reach idolized without some extra hoops like going through the DLCs. So this sort of gives you an option of like, all right, if you want to max out reputation, or the powder gangers, right? Like at the beginning of the game, you probably turn against them and you're stuck with negative reputation. So this lets you reverse that, kind of get idolized if you want. So just as an example, let's say Good Springs maybe. So yeah, so all right, I guess no misdeeds are forgiven, but you can improve your reputation. So you'll see as you do this, if you keep going, eventually when you max it out, it will tell you, kind of like that. Let's do this a couple times just for fun. Yeah, so we now maxed it out. So when we exit the menu, it'll be idolized. Yeah. So yeah. All right, so yeah, that's basically the Enclave mod. That's pretty much it. There's the a few missions, there's a few benefits. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy it, and leave a comment on Nexus Mods or here on YouTube. And yeah, see you out there in the wasteland.